We're recording now. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to one of our virtual sustainability summit talks, Towns Helping Towns. We're spotlighting today, and I'm really excited to have David Steinberg with us to talk about, what they're doing down at our Tri-County Sustainability Alliance hub. And there might be others who have been working with him on this committee who can also, sort of join in and jump in and share. But before we start, I just wanted to, share a couple of housekeeping items, but then also a couple of announcements. The first is that we just ask that everybody stay on mute, and that way, we can hear David clearly, and we can, keep the background noise to a minimum. We'll have time for Q&A during at the end of David's talk, and if you have questions throughout, you can write them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer, and if I can't do it, I'll make sure that your question gets to David when he is ready to take questions. And then just a couple of announcements here. Sustainable Jersey and Sustainable Jersey for Schools. If you don't know already, we've adjusted our certification timelines to provide more flexibility. You can get more information on all of these elements on the slides at sustainablejersey.com. The second one is that Sustainable Jersey is ramping up our energy portfolio. We're going to be releasing new resources and virtual trainings, new guidebooks with, having to do with everything energy. And also we're offering free technical assistance to municipalities that are experiencing challenges with this new norm of, doing things remotely, public meetings, digitizing operations, that kind of thing. We are matchmaking with tech-savvy coaches. So that is available at no cost to municipalities in New Jersey. And then lastly, just a reminder that municipalities and schools can get points for doing census outreach. It's a very important time right now to get a complete count of your town, everything from, federal funding to, congressional districts, and, the way that districts are kind of determined all depends on the census. So, if green teams get involved, they can get points for their towns through the certification, through the education and outreach action. Okay, so now I would like to introduce you to our speaker today, David Steinberg. He is the chair of our one of our regional hubs, the Tri-County Sustainability Alliance, which is Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. David chairs the Towns Helping Towns Committee, which he's here to talk to you more about the efforts that they're doing. It's a really great program. It, hopefully will serve as a model for other hubs to take it up. And also, if you aren't in a region in New Jersey where Sustainable Jersey has a hub currently, what David's about to talk about can be done with a group of towns that, can get together to help support each other. So I am going to turn it over to David now to talk to you about what they've been doing down at TRICSA, which is that's sort of the nickname for the Tri-County Sustainability Alliance. Okay,
hello,
David.
Hello, everybody. And how are you all doing? Well, I just want to say that I am amazing, just like each and every one of you is amazing. And I personally want to thank you for all the great work that you're doing for sustainability. We each do our part, and the whole world will change. So every one of us has a golden opportunity to be able to contribute to this. I've been told, well, first of all, I don't have a camera, but I've been told I got a great face for radio. So,
David, could I just jump in really quickly?
Sure.
I know that I sent an email out to everybody saying, please keep your cameras off and your microphones muted. It's okay to turn your cameras on because we don't have a slide deck. It's not going to get distracting. It might be good for David to be able to see people's faces as he's talking. So please feel free to turn your cameras on, but just stay muted. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. Um, this was an interesting. Oh, I see the cameras going. Oh, I can see people actually.
They're
Oh, you can't
coming.
see me, but I can see you. Cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. I wanted to first give an idea to tell you how this all came about. Many years ago, back in the 60s, what this has to do with today, I'll let you know. I read an article that the Chinese government was building roads with 100,000 people, but didn't have the equipment. So I figured that it's good that citizen participation is good. And I've often thought about that ever since. And when I got involved with the Tri-County group about 3 or 4 years ago, the thought intrigued me. Now, we live in a wonderful country, and I figured that, well, maybe some of us who have the opportunity to help other people and have the time on our hands could possibly participate in something. So I began thinking about sustainability, and I'm from Camden County, and I know there's a lot of towns in my county, as well as the 2 adjacent counties, that have not been certified. And I figured, well, in my career in sales and customer service, I used to knock on doors, made lots of phone calls, but it's no big deal for me. So the thought about helping other towns was always in the back of my head, but I wasn't really sure what form it would actually take. Then one day I mentioned one of the Triska meetings, and I got some people to volunteer, which I wasn't sure that I would, but they did volunteer. And also there are a couple of towns that said they possibly needed some help and would appreciate some help. So I figured, well, okay, we got to start somewhere. Let's start with what we got. So without knowing what to do, I kind of figured out that one of the things that I should do is reach out to Lauren and Samantha for this, and Lauren enthusiastically embraced it. So did Samantha. And then we got started getting down to brass tracks as far as what we could possibly do with reference to this. So we had a number of meetings. There were initially 4 people on our committee, myself and 3 others. And that was for last year. This year we have 13 people. We targeted 8 towns last year. And of the 8 towns last year, 6 of them got certified, and 2 I expect will probably be certified this year, assuming that there are no delays as far as the COVID-19. This coming year, 2020, we had great expectations. Hopefully we'll be able to come close to meeting our target or meeting it entirely. But we have 23 towns, of which 20 we're working toward bronze, and we want to help 3 other towns that are bronze to be able to move toward the silver certification. And we have people that are more than willing to give of their time and energies and enthusiasm to be able to do this. And I'm very grateful because we have one heck of a good team. And that is part of the success where people volunteer to say what they're going to do and actually follow up and actually do it. So let's talk about some things as far as our Tri-County area. Now we have approximately slightly less than 20% of the total towns in the state of New Jersey. We have 101 towns in our 3-county area. The ones that achieve bronze and silver is 31 of those towns. And we're now talking a total of 23 more, which will bring it up to 47 towns that have not gotten certified. Many of them are not even registered at this point. So we know we have a big job ahead of us, but nevertheless, we're moving with our heads down, and we're making some progress. And we got some things in the works. Hopefully, as many of the towns we target will be able to go ahead with reference to the certification as well. One of the things that we did, we met with both Lauren and Samantha multiple times to, in order to develop some sort of plan of approach. Because while we had the great idea, the question is, where do we begin? What do we do? How do we go about doing this? And how do we actually do something that's worthwhile and will help people to make it happen? So with the help of Samantha, we decided to concentrate on some of the expired silver or bronze either from last year, the year before that, or maybe expiring in this year. We wanted to check out the status of those and see if there's any way we can possibly help them in their efforts to be able to do that. So we figured that would be the easy thing. Initially we're looking for the low-hanging fruit, the ones that are easy to do. Once we build ourselves up, then we want to be able to move on to some of the little more difficult ones. And we know that there are always going to be situations that come up, and reasons, or actually not reasons, but excuses why towns are not going ahead with that. And I'll address some of those things shortly. We also wanted to work with towns that are registered. Some have started the works, maybe perhaps have gotten frustrated, but in any case, they're not approved. Then we have some towns that were certified denied. These are the ones that made an effort, that at least have some idea, at least a head start. And we don't know what the status of those are, but we decided to include them as well, because we felt as though that's an opportunity to be able to talk to people and perhaps be able to get them to raise their enthusiasm up about getting certified. Now we understand that there may be some towns that may have started and said they won't do it again. That we realize may require a little bit more attention. We're not quite ready to go there yet, but I suspect that's going to be in the next phase, because I think it's something we should absolutely address, and we will work up some sort of guidelines and some plans for going after those towns after next year. But first, we want to do this year. We want to be able to show a continuing degree of success. Now, we developed some strategies for proceeding. I made a list up of what volunteers need to know, and essentially, simply by the act of reaching out, I don't know of anyone that would not appreciate that, even if they're not going to move ahead with it, because it at least shows that neighboring towns are caring towns. And we all know that each one of us here, on the call, and many others that we know, are all very caring people. So we also understand that some towns may want to participate, but they may have a lot of challenges, such as a lack of volunteers. So one of the things that I had put together was a resource guide for green teams, and we address those kind of issues. I'll cover that in just a few moments, because there's some interesting things there. I'm just going to highlight, I'm not going to go into a lot of depth, but just enough to give you an idea that there really is some very good things here that can help towns get certified, and many of the people may not even be aware that they exist. So, of course, we want to encourage everybody to go to the South Jersey website, the Sustainable Jersey website, I should say. Inviting people to your own green team meetings is a very good way of doing this. In Runnymede, one of our council people mentioned that he'd be very happy to be a host and invite people to our green team meetings, and also spend time with them either before the meeting or after the meeting, or do something in reference to that, in order to be able to get some of their enthusiasm up. And I think that's a very, very good thing. And I have no doubt there'll be other people along the lines can also participate with that as well. So we suggest in what we're doing is perhaps joint programs with other towns. There have been a number of things happening in our Tri-County area that I'm aware of, and I'm sure there are a number of things happening in my Tri-County area that I'm not aware of. I'll give you a couple of examples. Haddon Heights and Audubon. I used to be part of Sustainable Haddon Heights. I'm now part of Sustainable Runnymede because I moved. Haddon Heights and Audubon had a film festival where they showed films in each other's towns. Then there are other things. More than one green team can collaborate with each other in common activities. For example, Oakland and Collinswood green teams are working together on joint projects, and each town can achieve their own South Jersey points as a result of that, as long as it meets the basic requirements. A green fair is a great way to do it. Now, one of the things that we've come in contact with is there starting to be a whole bunch of these green fairs, and the dates are starting to conflict with each other. So one way of doing that, getting around that, is having a joint green fair with more than one town, and just follow the procedures when setting those things up. Also, sustainable jersey for schools should be notified, should be brought into the discussion. Even though the volunteers are helping the town itself, they may have some people in the schools that might be willing to get started with that. So you can move from the town to the schools for that. Now, one of the things that is important in any organization, any successful initiative must have a way of dealing with and overcoming objections. I'm going to give you just a few of them there, and just to give you an idea. This one we heard. Last year we didn't recertify because the person who was our leader is no longer available. Next one, we don't have enough volunteers. We don't have the time. We have other priorities. We don't have the budget. We have our own ideas on how to run our town. The green team gets no support from council. And lastly, I'm not interested, which to me, as a salesperson, I would say, not interested. What is it that you're not interested in? Would that be in saving taxpayers' money, in being more efficient, in providing sustainable things for your town, so that the residents will really appreciate a lot of things that you're doing? Or these are things you're not interested in? Of course, that's a salesman in me. Not everybody is geared up that way, and I understand that. So there are ways of dealing with certain objections, and I put some of these things in writing. I put it in a report, which is a resource guide on how to set up your own Towns Helping Towns community. So again, I'm highlighting these things. I'm not going to go into great depth and great detail on this. Some of the things that I wanted to cover the resource guide. Here are some of the things. Here are some of the issues that have come up, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of the many things that we listed here. Some ideas to encourage your town council that sustainable efforts make a lot of sense. Of course, saving money is a very good way of doing it. The pride and recognition that your town has done something great. Now it's time to let your neighbors know. More efficient government by saving municipal staff time. Encouraging your residents to become more sustainable in their homes or apartments. There are many things Sustainable Jersey has that can encourage that as well. There are many resources available. Many of them are on the Sustainable Jersey website. There are also grants available, grants throughout the state. Various organizations have grants available, and that's a prime resource. If a town says, well, we don't have the money, well, apply for some of the grants and you get the money to do some of the projects that you want to do. We all know that they're competitive, but if you don't apply for it, the answer is 100% of the time is going to be no. So if they have, if they say council doesn't have an interest, then offer to meet with the council person or the council group itself, and talk to them about some of the benefits, about what other towns are doing and how they're looking really good in the eyes of their residents. And a lot of times these things are very important, and the council people will be able to go along with that. Lack of volunteers. There are about 20 different ways of getting volunteers. I'm going to highlight a couple of them here that I think are important. One of them is let your police department and municipal courts know about the availability of your opportunities for those who must do community service to work out their fines. Interesting. Could be a golden opportunity to pick up some people. I remember my son had to do community service when pay a fine or do community service. He chose to do community service and nobody ever called him. And that's been about 8 or 9 years ago. I think they might have forgotten all about him, but it's a source of volunteers, and there are many other sources as well. As far as projects are concerned, Haddon Heights, when I was with them, we had students from both Stockton University and the College of New Jersey who volunteered with Sustainable Haddon Heights to help with their tree inventory. And the first time we did it, our big mistake, and I admit that, there'll be successes, there'll be failures. We did it too early in the season because we couldn't tell what the particular trees were because the leaves weren't out yet. So that was on us. The following year, we had students from Stockton help us. And they're not even in our county, either one of them. One is in Mercer County, one is Atlantic County. So you're not bound by volunteers from your particular community. Let's see what else we got here. Deptford Township worked with a local group who created an arts display in their municipal building, and they converted their council chambers into a cafe for local talent programs. I know this because several times my son and I both participated in reading poetry and he also played the keyboard as well. So these are kind of things that are interesting that get people involved. And there are many other things as well. I'm just going to highlight just a few of them here. There are many resources within Sustainable Jersey itself, energy related, water, land use, transportation, public information engagement, grants, et cetera, Sustainable Jersey for schools and so on and so forth. Now, part of the things that we're doing is to have an idea is how can we measure our success? Well, one way to measure, of course, is to say the number of towns that we had that were certified bronze or silver. And that's one very good way of doing it. But there's another way that I think is going to be even more valuable than that. And that is mentor evaluations by which we, after we help a town, this will provide us with a story, what took place, problems and results, what we can do better, et cetera, et cetera. So that kind of gives an idea as to what that can be done. At the same time, we can also go to the towns that we work with and have them evaluate the mentors. And that is also interesting. Again, we're not looking to cast aspersions on anybody. We're always looking to improve. And this is another way we have for being able to do that. Now, one of the things I was thinking about before about what happens if you get a town that is not that really is very reluctant to go along. Then I heard about Mayor DeLuca, I believe from Maplewood, who went around to various towns, and what he did was he spoke to them about getting certified from Sustainable Jersey. And then I got this crazy idea. Maybe the hubs can start their own, what I would call an EORB, E-O-R-B, EORB. That's Elected Official Resource Bank. So perhaps someone in your own town, or maybe a freeholder that is enthusiastic about sustainability, might be willing to make a phone call on your behalf to get a reluctant town to go along. And I think that's an interesting thought. We haven't done it as yet, but I think it's really interesting. I think it has possibilities. So there are many, many things that can be done with this. After the meeting, at some point, probably next week, I prepared a resource guide. I have it out to my entire committee for any comments they may have about that to make it even better than what it was. Lauren was very helpful with many suggestions. Samantha was very helpful with various suggestions. And I trust that my team is probably going to come up with a few ideas that none of us had thought about. And we're going to include them and circulate around to everybody. That's going to have a lot more detail than what I've actually covered here. And let's see, there are a lot of really cool things here. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because that's not the purpose of this meeting, but just merely to highlight what things are there. Now,
David, we have a couple of minutes left, and I wonder if this is a small group. Okay. So and nobody's been writing any questions in the chat. I wonder if people have questions, or even there's a lot of people here. I see Joanne, you're waving your hand. there's a lot of people here who have been engaged for a while, and I wonder if they have thoughts too on how to, you know, how to go about this in their own county, or, you know, just advice for you, or just questions in general. So would you be okay if we opened it up right now?
Well, what I'd like to suggest, I know that Marty Levin is here. He's one of my committee members, and he was able to have some success. I'd like to call him Marty, and let's see, who else do we have from our town here? Let's start with Marty.
Hi, David. Thank you. I'd be glad to share a couple of thoughts. I had volunteered to work with 3 different towns, one of them being my own town, which was going for certification for the first time last year. They had a change in the town council. Prior to that, the town council was very reluctant to have us engage. And last year we got the green light to go ahead, and we got close to 150 points, but didn't quite make it. So we've revised our plan. We've some of the points we got last year carry over, and we're having regular meetings of our Sustainable Jersey subcommittee from our green team to move ahead with that. And I'm hopeful that by June, when the new date has been identified, that we'll have submitted enough activities that we'll be able to qualify for our bronze certification. So that's one of the towns. Now, the other 2 towns had very different experiences with. One town, Medford, they had a woman who was very much in charge and knew exactly what she needed to do. She said, listen, we got it under control. We don't need any additional help from you, but thank you very much for your offer. So that was one town. And then the other town that I connected with was Riverton, and they said, oh, great, we're just kind of getting started. We don't know really how to get going with this. How about if you come out to one of our green team meetings, which I did, and enjoyed meeting the various members of the green team. And we have a dialogue underway to see if they can qualify this year as well. And they had set up a partnership with a nearby town to do a film series starting in March. And of course, with the coronavirus, that put the kibosh on that for the time being. So we're going to see how we expand from there. So I'm going to stop at that point. I see somebody wants to ask a question. So thank you, David.
Marty, would you agree that you know, even in a case like Medford, where she said, you know what, thank you, but we've got it, just knowing that there's support out there probably helps her in a way, and, you know, gives her that kind of sense of community beyond her own?
Yes, I believe so, Lauren. I think that knowing that there are people out there who are reaching out a hand to help and can be a resource if questions come up certainly is a terrific idea.
Great.
Now I see that we have a couple more people. Vicki Benetti is on our team. Vicki started this year. Vicki, I don't know if you want to share anything at this point or not. And also Dorothy Foley from Merchantville is on. Dorothy, good to see you again.
Hi, Dorothy. This is Vicki. I just wanted to say I am on the team, and I'd love to follow the lead of some of our very successful members, like Marty, like Sean, and of course, like David and several others. I haven't made the progress that they have yet, but I have 2 towns that are on my agenda to assist that are close by. So hopefully after COVID gives us some relief, we'll get back in business.
Yeah, we all need relief from COVID, that's for sure. Dorothy, I don't know if you want to say anything or not. It's up to your choice.
Thanks, David. We are one of the towns, Merchantville, New Jersey, that David has helped, and we are hoping to submit our application by June 14th, I think it is. We were very happy to get that extra time because everyone has challenges that came up because of this that has put the work that we were doing on the back seat. So we're hoping to get into it more over the next 3 weeks, and I will be reaching out to the team for the help. We greatly appreciate it. It really did get us started, I have to say. David came to one of our incredible Edible and Merchantville meetings probably about 7 months ago. And that is what gave us the confidence to start the process. So thank you.
Well, sometimes you need a big push, sometimes a nudge, sometimes a gentle reminder. Every town is a little different. Every place is a little different. Dorothy, while I got you on the telephone, or when the thing here today, if there's anything I can do to help, by all means, and I'm sure you know this, to kindly reach out to me. It'd be my pleasure to help you out. I think you guys are doing fabulous. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. You have no idea.
Okay, so Joanne Held from Hopewell Valley Green Team, she's got a question. Joanne, why don't you just, unmute.
Yeah, thank you. My green team actually includes 3 different municipalities. And one thing I've noticed is that each of them functions in a totally different way. In some, the municipal council is really active. In others, it's the borough administrator who's active, and some have an environmental commission and some don't, and all the interactions are kind of messy to begin with. Is there a step in your process where you start by just sort of sitting down and trying to figure out how they function, or do you just dive into particular actions and kind of help them with the actions and let them sort out the bureaucracy?
Well, you raised an interesting question. When I was with Sustainable Haddon Heights, it's very different than Sustainable Runnymede. Sustainable Haddon Heights is a 501c3 separate organization who agreed to do all the work and give the credit to the town. But we didn't really have as much support from the borough as we initially had hoped. When the group first got started several years before I was there, people said, "What's this sustainability all about? You know, what's a sustainable Jersey?" This is like 8 or 9 years ago. When I got involved with it about 6 or 7 years ago, a question that came up was they wanted to, somebody had mentioned to the mayor about having recycling for electronics. And the mayor said, "Well, this seems like a good idea. Can we do it?" Well, I can tell you this is probably one of the fastest things that ever has been done in Sustainable Jersey. In less than a month, it was up and running because the mayor and council had support for this. They all love the idea, and it's been going on about 3 or 4 years now. Now, to get to the specifics of your question, I would say because every town is different, you're going to have different people that are the movers and shakers, different people that are the workers, and it's important to take each one individually. There's no one way to approach all 3 of them. One way I suggest is ask a lot of questions. And you know, what is it you want to accomplish from this? What would you like to see as a result of getting involved with Sustainable Jersey? Sometimes the answers were obvious, and sometimes you're very, very surprised. So it's important if they have any particular projects that they want to work with. That's another area that would be really good to look at, because you want to be able to focus on the particular aspects of that town that you're working with, one of the 3. And there are a number of other things as well, but it's important to also find out who some of the personalities are, because you may find some of the people on the green team are not the ones that make the final decision on that. The green team may or may not be members of council, who obviously would have a vote in connection with any resolutions or any projects that come forward to the town. But if you can put yourself in a position by which you are you're there to help them accomplish their objectives, and you can do that in connection with Sustainable Jersey easily, and it puts you in a neutral position of being someone who is a go-to person for this, a go-to person for that, et cetera, et cetera.
And I agree with everything that David just said. And I do think, Joanne, that yes, you know, finding out how the municipality functions, how the green team functions would be a good first step, because, you know, any advice you give from that point on, you know, kind of gears up to that, because they won't need a lot of volunteers, and you wouldn't go down that track if it was very kind of top down, you know, driven by the municipality itself, right? Okay, Rhonda Allen, you have a question. Why don't you tell us where you're from as well?
Hi, my name is Rhonda Allen. I'm here in East Orange, New Jersey, and I'm a sustainability geek. I have been all of my life. I feel like I've hit a brick wall because I actually registered the school district with Sustainable Jersey just a few years ago, but I was given such resistance. I did a bicycle rodeo. I did a babysitter training program. We're doing city cleanups, created the recycling program, got it approved with the district. It was almost like, don't do this or something. It was weird. I went to the city because the municipality is supposed to be able to like do things. But you know, I went into the person's office. They had the packet, but there was nothing being done. I did hear someone just mention that there was a nonprofit that did agree to do all the Sustainable Jersey work. But who do I talk to about that? Because it's almost like some people don't get it. It's like they don't care. And when you try to do it, they're looking at you like, ah. So I'm kind of, it bothers me because I'm able to rally the troops, get the young people together. You know, Saturdays and Sundays, and sometimes after school, I have 40 or 50 teenagers cleaning the city and separating the trash from the recyclables, you know, and the commingled, that's what we normally did. But it was like, it's still, you know, nobody's able to really support and say, yes, you can do this to register this and let's make it happen. Let's, you know, be a certified city, you know? So I'm just kind of concerned. Is it the demographics? I mean, what could help the municipality, the leaders to buy in? What do I need to say to them so we can really make this happen?
Okay, great questions. First of all, I think it's fabulous that you got the kids to work. Oh my
Thank
God.
you.
Give them something to do. Wonderful.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love it.
They love
I love
it.
it.
They love it. Yeah.
I in Haddon Heights about 20 years ago, when my son was about maybe kindergarten, first grade or so, we had a cleanup in our town, and I coordinated it. We had about maybe about 20 or 30 families come out. We cleaned the railroad track, which runs right through the town. Helltown was clean. Railroad track needed it.
Nice.
So I empathize with you, and I think it's fabulous. Get all those kids. That's wonderful.
Thank
the
you.
question is, well, there are actually a couple questions. Number one is, how do you motivate the kids to do more? Which I'm not going to be able to get into because I trust you have within you the particular things to have them participate. But more importantly, the question that you asked here about how do you motivate people, I think it's probably a question if you know it. This is something that works top down. Remember what I said earlier about the difference between Runnymede. I didn't tell you what Runnymede is. Runnymede has 3 council people on the green team, extremely enthusiastic about it.
Mm-hmm.
They just got bronze certified, and so they have been involved with it. My suggestion would be reach out to some of the council people, because you get some of them to go along with it. You know, you may have some success, you may not have success. There's no way to tell except when you make the effort.
Well, you know what I find is that sometimes when people, you know, see you doing certain things, if it's not their idea, they don't want to hear it. If they can't look good, they're not going to participate. I even doing the city cleanups, like that was me. I went to, you know, because I'm like, oh, I can't take all this trash. It drives me nuts. We're next to Newark. Newark is, oh my God, there's so much litter and trash. It makes me crazy. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you know, contact DPW instead of going to city council and complaining. I went to DPW. I said, I want to do a city cleanup. You know, what can you offer me? Do you have grabbers? You have recycling bags, trash bags? Oh, sure, of course. We need this. Yes. So my principal at the time was like, you know, I said, can we do it? He's like, sure. What do you need? Cafeteria in the morning. Did a PowerPoint about how long it takes for different items to decompose, you know, and what it means to be green and saving water. You know, I started off doing the PowerPoint in the cafeteria, was able to get snacks, feed the kids in the morning, croissants, juice, all that, and then take them out. And then they were so excited. They wanted to keep doing it. And these are high school kids. So, you know, and because I'm fun, you said, how do you get them out? Because I'm fun, and they want to do everything for me. They're like, whatever you're doing, I want to be in it. So, you know, we've done Superhero Day, all kinds of stuff. So it's a crazy thing, because some people get upset when you're doing this for the kids. It's not about me, it's for the kids.
Right.
And they get mad at me because I'm, you know, I guess I'm looking too good. It's sick.
I think you're looking great.
Oh, thank you.
Not a question of too good. You're looking great.
Thank you.
Here, all right.
I'm not sure if
A couple of things I would just, a couple of quick things I want to just share.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of meeting with Public Works, meet with the Director of Public Works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, and if you can meet with somebody from City Council, maybe the person that's in charge of City Council. They usually have I forget what they're called now. It's off the top of my head. But find someone that's there, and if that person doesn't work, then talk to a second and talk to a third. If you have 5 City Council people, you may have to talk to 5 individually. At the same time, when you're talking to one, you may develop that enthusiasm so that they might want to find out more.
Well, they know what I do. They've come out for the cleanups. Even the mayor saw me on live. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I have his cell phone number. He came out and he got on my live and, you know, was on video cleaning. So then they, you know, they tried to start doing it. I was actually out for surgery. And when they tried to do it without me, they were like, there were no teenagers. I'm like, yeah, because I wasn't there. So it's been an interesting thing, but it's like, even with that, I don't know if they understand the motivation for the Sustainable Jersey organizational participation. I think that's part of the barrier, though.
Yeah, Sharonda, I think 2 things. You know, David had mentioned it before about like the saving money, and you know, I think the financial might be a way to kind of tackle it with them, that to let them know that a lot of these measures could save money, and there's potential for grants.
And I write grants.
Yeah.
I had a Youth Service America grant that I did for the bicycle program and the babysitter program. I was able to buy helmets, buy 2 bikes, you know, bells, lights, locks, you know, and pay for the Red Cross babysitter certification for all the kids. So I said I could bring money. I won't cost you money, but it would look great. But you know, I don't know if they get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I did not put in any of the documents is that, bottom line, it helps them get reelected. Okay. You know, they are probably subscribers of that old FM radio station, WIII-FM. In other words, what's in it for me?
Yeah. So
that may be, you know, I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying that's probably in the back of their mind. Is this something that's going to help me look good with my constituents and help me get reelected? You know, politics is part of us, whether we like it or not. I don't like it a lot. I'm sure you may not like it either, especially the way it's being done. But this is not a political discussion. This is a discussion about the environment. I would like to offer you to talk offline further about this. I'd be delighted to speak with you.
Yes.
If you want, I'll be glad to get my number out. And if anybody else wants to give me a call, I'd be delighted to speak to them as well. You have something to write with?
David, would you write it in the chat to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's great. Any other questions? I know we're over time here, and I'm realizing after having done a couple of these talks that 30 minutes is just not enough. I don't know what I was thinking, booking all these 30-minute TED Talks. But anybody else have any thoughts or comments or questions? David had mentioned that, you know, this resource guide that the Towns Helping Towns Committee is putting together will be available within the next, you know, couple of weeks. And we have everybody's email who's here on this call. So we'll make sure that we send that out to you. And it will also be available somewhere on Sustainable Jersey's website. So we'll make sure we get to that. And David, any closing thoughts before I sort of close this out?
Yes.
Make sure you give us your number too, David.
Hello?
This is just a sort of recap of what David was
Okay,
talking
got it.
about.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I put my phone number out there. Okay. All right. The last thing I want to say here is quick summary. There are 565 towns, municipalities in New Jersey. 455 of those towns are participating, and every year, if we can get the hubs involved, well, I know we can increase this number substantially. So I'd like to make a goal for us to work toward 100% participation. We got the resources, we have the volunteers, we have the energy, and we also have the will. Let's show the rest of New Jersey how well we can work together to really make a huge, huge difference here.
Thank you so much,
I want to
David.
thank you all very, very much.
Thank you. And before we go, I just wanted to, thank our summit sponsors, the Virtual Sustainability Summit sponsors that have supported us in this effort and allowing us to be able to do this for these 4 weeks. And also just to let you know that we have more events. We've got one more week after this one. We're halfway through this week, one more through the completion of the Virtual Sustainability Summit. And we do plan on, continuing to bring content as we normally do, but virtually as we continue to move through this quarantining and social distancing, and we're all figuring this out together. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, David and his team, for being on the line to share with everybody. I know the hubs, we're trying to bring the different hubs together more regularly so you guys can, chat and learn from each other. And maybe this is something that we can, put on the docket to dig in a little bit more about, to see if some other hubs are interested in picking this up.
One last thing, if I may.
Sure.
Once we can travel again, I'd be happy to travel to any hub anywhere in New Jersey and make a presentation before your group. I also can do it by Zoom. If you have a meeting and you want to talk about it, it'd be my pleasure to participate in that as well. It's because this is something that I believe in. It works. We have a record of success. We're going to make more successes in the future, and I trust every single hub can benefit from this as well. Every single hub, and the whole state's going to be fabulous because that 455 number, I'd like to get that over 500.
That would be great.
And hey, listen, you have to establish a goal and then work toward it, and then get it.
Marty asked about a recording to the talk, and yes, it will be up on Sustainable Jersey's website. That might have been on the last slide that I showed. I'm not sure, but it will be under our presentations tab.
Great.
Excellent. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Hopefully see you at the next event. Bye-bye.
Fabulous.
Bye now. Bye, David.
Bye.
Take care now.